Alrighty, so let's get started. My initial expectations, I'm gonna just assume that this foundation will disappoint me, because so far I've tried a couple different L'Oreal foundations, and their products in general, personally, I don't know why, but I just don't like them. Their foundations, mascaras, I don't know if I'm just picking bad products, but that True Match powder, I love that. But for some reason, I just don't have good luck when I try out new L'Oreal products. So that kind of sucks. But I'm gonna expect the worst but hope for the best. We have the L'Oreal Infallible Total Coverage Foundation. This foundation says Pro Face and Body Foundation, ultra lightweight and seamless coverage. Use everywhere, face, neck, arms, and legs to cover imperfections and even skin tone. It says that it has a natural finish. It has 24-hour wear, which is probably not true. And it says it has high coverage and the texture is air light. Now, I've got my Pro Matte and Pro Glow Infallibles just to show a difference in the packaging. They have the same amount of product in them. It's just this one is more slender. So yeah. The interesting thing about this foundation compared to the Pro Matte is on the back of the foundation, it puts little filled in circles next to each category to indicate the amount of what it is. And these two foundations are filled in the same exact spots on both foundations, with the exception of the coverage. On this it says it's medium coverage and this one says it's full coverage, but they both have a natural finish. They both claim to be 24-hour wear. This one claims to have a little bit more coverage, and they both claim to have an air light texture. So personally, I never really cared that much for these foundations. I know that they're hella hyped and many people love them. So I'm just hoping that this one will be a little bit more satisfying. I'll say that. As always, I'm going to prime my face. I'm going to do half of my face with a brush and half of my face with a sponge. I am going to wear this all day and we will do live check-ins, and then at the end of the day I will let you know if this is worth your coin, because I think this cost me about $13, which is a little steep. That's another reason why I don't really like these foundations. Drugstore, they are pretty up there in price. But anyways, let's get on into it. So today I'm actually going to be using Kim Thai's Wanderlush moisturizer as a primer, because it also markets itself as a primer. I've used it a couple times. I love Kim Thai. I think she's so wonderful, so I definitely wanted to support her product. So this is what it looks like. It's just a typical moisturizer. So that's what it looks like, and I'm going to use that as my primer. Okay, so I'm going to just take a little bit of the moisturizer and kind of dot that on my face. I already cleansed my face, just so you know, and a little bit goes a long way. Since we're doing face work today, I brought you guys in a little bit closer. Hope you don't mind. This half of the face we will do with a brush. Oh, this is interesting. I was wondering like how much of a mess this product would be, but this is very smart, this kind of pinpoint application thing. So actually I don't even need to put it on the back of my hand, I don't feel like. I'm just gonna... Okay, L'Oreal. I'm more impressed already. This is in the shade 312 Cocoa, and I always forget to mention that I have a normal skin type, so not too dry, not too oily. It looks very thick, so that makes me believe it'll most likely be matte. Okay, it's covering up my blackish spots on my face. I feel like I might need an extra layer for my personal taste. I covered up the blackness decently on my skin. I mean, in regards to like my dark ass eyes, not my blackness in general. It's not the right shade, which is another problem that I have with L'Oreal's foundations, is that they're never the right shade ever. But it seems to be covering my neck decently. I'm gonna actually try this out on my chest too, because it's a body foundation, so that means it should look flawless on my chest as well. Not that I would really ever need to wear it on my chest, but might as well test it out, right? Because I definitely have some unevenness on my chest. Hopefully, maybe it'll look better with a sponge, because it does feel very lightweight, but it feels more like medium coverage to me personally. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm tripping. What do you guys think? I guess it's decent coverage, but you can still see some of the pigmentation and stuff. So I would like a tad bit more coverage. Before I add more, let's do the side with the sponge. Like a Hellcat. You see this stark difference in my skin tone? L'Oreal. And this is too light for me, so that's upsetting. I can't really rock with brands that don't want to, you know, support the melanin, you know? I'm gonna put a little bit on my chest as well. Because I like this sponge a bit better than the Real Techniques one, I'm gonna use this one from Morphe. Like a Hellcat. I feel like it takes more work to blend it out with the sponge, because you can see, if you're up close, where it looks like scratches. That's where the foundation isn't all the way blended. Go in on my chest. I feel like because it's so thick, it makes it a little bit harder to blend out. I mean, it's not terribly too hard to blend out, but it's definitely more of a hassle to blend it out with the sponge than it is with the brush, just because of how thick it is. If it were a little bit more liquidy, it wouldn't be as hard to blend out. For my neck, I'm just gonna continue with the brush because it just looks a little bit too patchy still. This is how I look like with one layer. Personally, I mean, it did give me some coverage, but not enough for my taste. Maybe it looks fine on camera, but just because I'm like extra blemishy right now, I just want to take a little more on both sides. And I'm just going to go on ahead and use the brush. I think that because, like I said, because this one is so thick, it's a little bit harder to blend out. So I don't think that the sponge is a good one for this. I do like this applicator a lot because it allows it to be a lot more sanitary and clean as compared to that LA Girl one. For whatever reason, it just like exploded on me. Yeah, I feel more comfortable with at least 2 layers. It is buildable. so that's good. I'd say this is a matte finish. It said that it would have a natural finish. So natural, aka matte finish. So this is what my skin looks like after 2 coats or 2 layers of this foundation. I like it better with at least 2 layers because I don't feel like it gives me enough coverage for my taste for just 1 layer. For my neck and chest area, for my neck, I definitely needed 2 layers. For my chest, you can still see a little bit of splotchiness, but I do have a lot of discoloration in my chest. So I think for 1 layer on my chest, it did pretty good. Let's add 1 more layer to my chest area just to see if it can do a little bit better job at covering it up. Ignore that foundation you saw on my shirt, okay? We're not gonna judge each other today. So I feel like I have to like press it in. I don't like how thick it is with this type of finish just because it makes it a little bit harder to blend out. But it does have good coverage. I'll say that. I'll say a solid 2 layers and you're good to go. So my chest looks pretty good. I'm impressed with my chest. Like, hey, new chest. Hey, non-blemished chest. How you doing, girl? So far, I don't like the shade range because it's almost my shade, but it's not quite. Just a little bit off in the undertone. But they definitely need some more shades than just like 1 or 2 black shades. Get it together, L'Oreal. Thank you so much. Coverage, I don't feel like it gives you the perfect amount of coverage until you get about to that 2nd coat. I don't like how thick it is because it makes it a little bit hard to blend out with a brush or a sponge, but I do like it a little bit better with a brush. I think a flat top brush would be good because you kind of need to press the product in. I kind of like to press and swipe down the product, but with this foundation, it's more of a pressy type foundation. So you're not going to be able to do a lot of swiping down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to do the rest of my makeup and then I will be back. Alrighty guys, so I just finished my full face of makeup. If you like this look, don't worry because I have a tutorial coming for you guys on this look very soon. As you guys know, I like to do live check-ins, so it is now around 12 noon. Give or take a couple minutes after, so we will come back in a couple of hours to see how the face is holding up. So stay tuned. You guys, I am so sorry. It is now almost 7:30 at night. I barely slept last night, and so I took a nap earlier today. And then by the time I got up, I had to film some other videos because I only had 1 day this week to film for you guys, and I want to make sure I'm pushing out good content at all times. So my bad, you guys, but I will also have 1 more check-in since it claims to be 24 hours anyway. I figure there's no harm. So this is what my face is looking like now. Looks a little stank. As far as the foundation goes, I feel like the coverage is somewhat still there, but it's starting to wear off too. I think the problem is it's starting to separate quite a bit. So you can see the separation on my nose per usual. I feel like almost every foundation known to man separates on my nose, so I won't hold that against it. But it looks okay, not phenomenal. My smile line isn't too bad, which is good because usually it be hit. But let's check out my chest. Okay, so my friends probably wonder why the F is she showing them her titties. So I think that my chest still looks pretty good. There's a dark spot there, but other than that, it looks decent. I feel like it looks okay so far, but we'll check back in a couple hours to see if there's a significant difference. Alrighty guys, so it is now a little bit after 11 p.m. at night, so it has been almost 12 hours since we've had on this foundation, which I do think is fair because it does claim to have 24-hour wear. So looking at my face now, I will say that I'm more pleased with this foundation than I am the others because it still looks somewhat decent. I do notice quite a bit of separation, but it has been 12 hours. I'd say with at least 2 solid coats, you would have a very flawless full coverage. And my chest still looks pretty good. My neck is a little bit worn, and I did set my neck with some translucent powder as well as my chest. I think I forgot to film that though. It does still feel pretty lightweight on my skin. Out of 5 stars, I'd say I'd give it 3.5, 4-ish out of 5, just because it does look quite separated. It doesn't look flawless, but it doesn't look terrible either. So I hope you found this video helpful, and let me know what foundations you would like to see me do next. I have one more planned for you guys. Thank you guys for still being gracious and watching me even though I look like a zombie right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Okay, now let me zoom you guys out real quick. Get out of my way. Get out of my face. Y'all, trick, y'all. Yeah, trick. Get out my face. Get out my face. Get out my face. Get out my face. And because I like this. Oh! Wow. Well. Okay, so I'm gonna look like a grandma for a minute. Or at least I feel like I look like one.